we?
Yeah. We're live.
Okay.
There we go. I had to block. I forgot to flip the camera.
Okay. So it's the upcoming.
Hand it to me and I'll get it set for you.
I think I did it. Is that it? Are we there?
We're there. Good.
Okay.
All right. All right.
I'm the only one watching right now, so.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows.
No, nobody knows. Well, we told them, so.
Well,
I'll just sit here for a little bit until I start to see people start to come in.
That looks good.
Do you like that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what do you think of the pattern?
I like the pattern.
And I did the little, like I said, I did a little bit of the weathering around the edge.
Yeah, I see the black gradient.
I was thinking we were just going to put the handrail around it. I think that would look cheap. So what I'm thinking about doing is taking a piece of styrene, going all the way around the edge like a concrete barricade.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe about like that tall.
Uh-huh.
And then above it, I'll use the nails.
Yeah.
I'll put nails, and then we'll put the, or we'll put, if you do, we can take the handrails and we can make a very fancy rail to put on top of that.
Right. We could even make like flower beds to go around.
Yeah, we could do something like that. But we still have to have it where they can't climb over it.
Right.
So
we'll
just give it. I'm only one right here right now, so we'll just give it time for people to come on in. So you go ahead.
All right.
Go do it. So,
enjoy.
Yeah. So I'll just hang in here till we see people starting to come in. So we are in the studio today. Well, studio layout room today, and today is a ballasting day. So I was going to show some of the work that I've been doing the past couple of days. So show this here just a little bit, and then we'll get the camera set up, and we will start doing the work. Been doing a lot of yard work today, so I'm a little hot and tired, and this would be good just to sit here in the layout and work on ballast. So I think I could actually do it sitting on my stool. So I think that'd be pretty good. All right, sorry about that. Just want to get rid of the frogginess in my throat. All right. So we did not advertise what time we were coming on today because I didn't know what my schedule was like this morning. But we are now here, and we're going to settle in. And I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put that camera for. Well, maybe I can put it right here. That's probably what I'm going to do, is put it right there. So let's see if that will work. I think I'll just move this out of the way, this building out of the way. And I'll tuck this one back a little bit. Move these back. Yeah, I should be able to put the camera right there. So we'll just put this guy right here for now. There we go. Good. All right, so before getting started, I always have a little bit of work to do. I added some more glue to my glue mix. So, oh boy, that's a little solid. I haven't done any in, I don't know, a couple of weeks. Usually this stuff stays pretty fluid. I'll just get this right here. I may just add a little, since that's not coming up off the bottom, and there's quite a bit there, I'm going to just go ahead and have to add, let's see, where's my glue? I'm going to have to add some to it. Let's go get another bottle. That should be almost what I feel in the bottom there. And I'm for sure going to have to put some more dish detergent in it. So I get it going, and then I will do a little test over here on some other stuff to see if it penetrates the way it's supposed to. Let's see. Hey, Josh, doing good. Thank you, Nation, about that. Yes, it is really expanded. I just have this one sitting over here out of the way right now. It was right here, but that's where I'm going to be putting the camera here in a minute when we start moving to where we're doing the ballasting for the day. By the way, got any we're supposed to be getting some Amtrak P42s in tomorrow. I'm not sure which ones are coming. They were gifts to the layout. I think it's going to be the Pepsi can and possibly that one that has the yellow nose that has the safety thing. You know, the tracks, don't cross the tracks thing. So I think those are coming. Yeah, this is an old bottle. I don't even know if I can get glue out of that. I had 3 bottles of this stuff. Where'd the other one go? I don't know. So I may have to wind up using this. Well, we'll see how this does. Let's see. Next week, my train show in Greenville. Very good. All right. Let me use some and feel the glue. The glue inside is nice and liquidy, but let me see if I can find something to open this up with. Get it out of there. There we go. Okay. I'll just pour a little extra in here. Yeah. Well, we get there. Let's see who's joined us. Oh, just okay. Train show. Yeah, 203. Operation Lifesaver. Yep, that's one that's coming. I think. Yeah, that's a big glop. There we go. All right, a little more stir in here. Now, since I put so much glue back into this, I'm definitely going to put a little bit of detergent in. Soap to help it get into the stuff. I just do all this by eye. All right. I'm going to get the camera here in just a second and show you guys everything that's been done since we were on a couple days ago. Gabe is off running errands today. So it is just me, so I won't be able to handle, you know, looking at videos or anything like that. We'll take care of all that on another day. Because this is, like I said, is going to be a work day today. All right, so let's see here. What was I going to do? Oh, I wanted to test. I'm going to test on some of this just to see what the how it's doing. Need a paper towel. Keep this one close. So, as soon as I get this tested, then I'll take the camera and just do a quick spin around, show you guys what. All right, I just want to see how this is doing. Make sure it's not beating. Nope. That's just going straight down in, nothing beating on the surface. And it looks really nice and white, so we got a good glue mix in there. You know what? I'm going to wind up spraying that. So I'm going to put this down here. I know because when I clean the little dropper out, it always bounces and sprays. Okay. Top of the double stack. Oh, doesn't like me today. All right, so I'm going to get the camera and show you guys everything here real quick. You can probably already see on your let's see if you get kind of an angle for it. You have sort of an angle for it. I'll show you what's been done right here. Let me get the camera and then we'll just put it right back where. Well, then I'll set it up for what we're working on. So as you can see, we have the station platform now built. I have everything painted all the way around, all the beams, everything underneath are painted. I've got this up here, as you can see. I took and I cut the piece of styrene, the exact size right here, and then I scribed concrete lines all the way across with the X-Acto blade, just made everything nice and straight, painted the whole thing, and not, well, it's not really a union station. This is actually a, well, I mean, I don't know if it's got a bunch of railroads that service it. This is from Nova Scotia. I really like the styling of it. So we're going to be, there's some peaks that go here. There's a big clock that goes here. Some sides come here, some top details, and all the windows have inserts and everything. So I just really like the styling of it. I figured it really matched, because with the peaked roofs right here, they're going to be the oxidized copper like we're having up here. I just figured it was a really good match to those. So that's, I've got to come in here and I've got to trace, once I get this set right where I want, I'm going to trace the line all the way around this on here, and then I'll come in and I'll do my staining onto the concrete around the edges like this. Let me show you what it kind of looks like. You can kind of see right here where the staining comes around the bases of the buildings that I do. Let's see, you can see right here on the front, excuse me, how just very hint of staining from the building, like rain and stuff coming down. So I'm going to do that all the way around here. We're going to do a retaining wall around the entire project with some kind of an ornate fence to keep people from climbing over and stuff and killing themselves, dropping onto the tracks. So we're going to make a nice little thing like that. I can't decide if I'm going to move this over to here and put a partial parking lot here, if I'm just going to leave it like this, and then we'll put a parking lot back here that'll be similar to our parking lot that we have here, but back here, that way it can handle the station that we'll have on our elevated track that's going to be coming around, because we're going to have a station back here too. So I'm probably just going to do a parking garage somewhere right in here. So I'm probably just going to center this and then just, yeah, make like planters and things, put some pretty plants in, maybe even a fountain of some sort. So that might be a good way to do that and make it really kind of a standout right here. Then of course underneath I'll be putting the platforms in between the tracks. We'll put lights in underneath because we'll have an elevator and stairs in the back there that, you know, theoretically drop down from the inside of the station down in here. So we'll have all that done. Probably put some graffiti along the walls that have been painted over. You'll see the outlines of the graffiti, and then like a gray or a white paint for like the silhouette, like, you know, paint over blotches. And then I might have some graffiti out on the sides over here they just didn't mess with. So that's where we're going with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up right here. I'm going to try to see if I can actually see with the camera. I'm going to see if I can just swing this around just a little bit and angle it down some, like this, because this is where I'm working today. We'll see how this does. Get my hand out of the way. This is, well, yeah, that shows the old road bed and the new road bed, where it's going to go. Perfect. Right there's where we want it to be. Okay, so today we are doing, I've got ballast back here, all the way around the corner. I've got it all along this wall back here underneath the trains. This corner was underneath where the station was going to go. Initially, that's what we were thinking about doing, was putting the station right there. I'm just getting my cords out of the way, all my electric out of the way, so I can just get to things easier. So we've got all of this is already done. I've got the nails in, everything is finished. These tracks have been good. You can see that's, I put my feeder lines right here. Where's the other one? Here. Thinking this was all going to be underneath the platform that was up here, and you wouldn't see any of that. Well, thank you, Josh. So I'll try to hide that as much as possible. Worst case scenario is I'll come in and I'll paint this shine. I'll put, as long as I don't go on the inside, we're okay. So I'll paint like right on the tops, right here, where it's really shiny, and try to disguise that a little bit. But I think I have all of my ties. Yeah, all the ties are in place that I had to do to fill the gaps. So we're okay there. And I think my curves are really nice and gentle, because after the ballast goes in, you're done. I mean, that's it, you know, without tearing up all your ballast. I'm just kind of doing a quick look down on everything here, and it's looking pretty good. So I think we're okay. Good morning, Ink. So ballast I use is this. I use the Fine Buff gray blend because I really like having the black and white mixed in with the gray. This is just a very tedious process. So I will, I'm not going to be able to, at least on the back track, I'm going to have to stand. So all I do is I get a cap full, about like that. Set this off to the side somewhere. Okay. I'm going to start on the back track and work my way out this way. And the reason I'm doing that is so that way I can, if I'm working, I won't take a chance of getting my hand into the glue and stuff and get things moving around. So what I do is I just simply start to fill in between the tracks. And I know they've got little devices to do this, but I really like to have it controlled because I really like the way I do my track to get everything nice and even. And on those things, you still have to do a lot of cleanup on those. Cause oh yeah, no, I know derailments on it, so that's why you'll see what I do here in a minute. I've had a lot of this already ballasted. I've probably got about half these loops, these 3 loops ballasted already. And I don't have any issues with that, with them derailing from any of the rock, any of the ballast material. So we're just moving on down the line here, and I sometimes will leave an open spot so I have areas to push ballast into that gets built up. So like I'll leave this open, I've left that open, that open. It just gives you a spot where you can push ballast. You don't have to bring it all the way with you when you're brushing it. You can actually see that pretty good, those gaps on the camera there. I was looking at the screen here, and you can really see that really well. The ones inside the track are sometimes to me they're the trickiest because of the rails on either side. You only have, like I said, a set amount of space. You can't just brush off onto the sides because it just acts as retaining walls. And I'm going to come all the way around. I think what I'm going to do is down here where I'm connecting up with the other ballast, I'm going to leave probably those 4 or 5 just open right there, and I'm just going to pull all the ballast down this way, and then I'll see what if I need to add a little extra, if it's going to be all right. So then, well, I'm going to say right now, just getting started, I'm going to have to add a little bit right here. Okay. So I use an angled brush like this so that you can get right up next to the curve. So when I'm working at an angle like this, it's nice and flat. And then we just start bringing it down. As you can see, by leaving some of those gaps, I've got a place for the excess to go like I was talking about. And then if it's still too gappy, if it's still not up to level with the ties, I'll come back and I'll add a little bit extra in here and there. For the most part, it usually works pretty good, but I can see I've got a few little low areas here and there that I'll need to address, but not much. And then I always come along the inside right here to make sure there's nothing on the inside of this rail. This isn't very exciting, but it definitely brings the scene to life. And later I'll come along and I'll use my ink. My paint is in an ink consistency, very thin. And I'll do a little black line right here in the middle from the oil coming off the engines and stuff, and the axles and things like that. I'll do that right down the middle of the tracks like you see in real life. I'll stain the ties too, stain the ballast. This does a good job of doing all of that. Okay, so not much came down, so I'm just going to have to fill in these little areas right here. I'll come back, fill these areas in. Wherever I've got some low areas, I'll just quickly just add a little extra in here and there, and then brush those flat again, because they will find their own little spots to fill into. And you just want to make sure you get everything off the ties now before you put glue on it, because it's when the glue kind of flows, it'll bring ballast up onto the ties, and then you just got to make sure you get that scraped off so it doesn't glue to the tie. I mean, it's fine because you can pop them off later, but it just saves you having to do that another step. So I generally, after I get done put my glue down and get the ties cleaned up, I'm generally pretty much done. There's a rock. Where'd that rock go? There it is. That was some scenery rock between the rails there. It's been there this entire time since I did the scenery back here. We are just gonna keep working this in. It's looking pretty good now. Looking pretty level with the ties. A few little dips down here and there, which is okay. Yeah, I definitely want to push this back just a little ways. You'll see the fronts of these engines. Push those back just a little ways right there. I'll fill this in right here. And when I get down here to doing the glue down here, I'll just make sure I'm just really controlled with it around the engines. And I'll move this back and forth, because it's pretty solid right there where it hooks up. And it should be, because the glue's really good. There we go. That's looking all right. Looks like we're blended in right over here to where the other ballast ended that I've had up here for a few months, about half a year actually. I'm just going to come look in here, make sure I've got pretty much everything off the tracks, or the ties rather. And I'm going to run it on the inside here because I can't see that from my vantage point right here. So just make sure I don't have anything on the inside of this rail that's going to cause any derailments. I can see the other part. You can see that side, no problem. So I just needed to make sure you could get that. And I still have a few little low areas here and there. There we go. Okay, so I think we're about ready to put glue down. A lot of people don't like the Chargers. I don't mind them. I'm partial to the P42s, but I don't mind the Chargers. The only thing I'm disappointed on the end scales is it's hard to get the shells off to put the light kit in to make the sides light up. You don't do it very carefully, you can break the sill or really warp the sill above the trucks. And so I doubt I'm even going to mess with that. Or I may send them off later to somebody who can install all the lights I want on it and just have him do a custom job on that. But that's way, way down the line. Like I said, there's a possibility of two P42s showing up tomorrow, the Pepsi can and that one with the yellow nose for the Lifesaver. There's a fellow who's donated quite a bit of stuff to the layout, and he said he had a few more engines, and he had me kind of take my pick of what I wanted, and he wanted to donate a couple more. He's very generous and really nice guy. I mean, we've gotten together for doing stuff. In fact, he's coming over next week. He's kind of ill and down right now, but he's coming over next week, and we're going to be doing some car weathering. I'm going to show him how I do all my car weathering. He's got a bunch he wants to do for his. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to set this, because I always have a tendency, if I don't, I'm going to knock it over. And all right, let me get the dropper. So I got the dropper. Where's my paper towel? Right here. Okay. I found last night I was kind of looking through some of the virtual rail stuff and saw some hoppers go by. Kind of going to inspire some new prototype stuff. I'm going to look for some good images of them. There's a great DM&E. That yellow car. I'll fade it down, and there was some fantastic graffiti on one. So let me see. We're going to put this. I'll just set this up here on the tracks out of the way. There we go. All right, so we're just going to start right here, and we'll see how good this stuff is. You just got to go between each tie. Now, when you get out to the outside, it's a lot easier. I can do it in bulk, basically. But this, you got to just work in individual ties. But this is what sets it apart if you take your time doing this. I'm going to make sure I've got all of this in place. I can't remember exactly where this stops, so I'm going to go back a little ways in here. That way, if any was in there too from just putting the new down, that was just kind of loose on the surface. I got it now too. And once you're done here, once I'm done here, I'll use a toothpick and I'll come across and I'll get all of the bits of ballast that floated up onto the ties, and I'll get those out of the way. And back down inside these areas right here. Standing on a cord, and that hurts the bottom of the feet since I'm just in my socks. And then I come in with the same toothpick and I'll clean the inside of the rails and get off any glue that will make it hard for the electric current to get up to the wheels. But I won't do that until everything is completely dried, probably in tomorrow afternoon sometime. Hard part is I can never remember where I'm at, and I always wind up going over areas I've already done. I have to usually start looking for visual signs as to where I'm at, what I did last. Get this out of the way for just a minute. Don't need my arm on there. And if I miss some spots, it's not that big a deal because when I do the ballast on the outside of the track, the glue flows underneath the rails and comes back into this middle anyway. So this is just mostly just get as much as you can, and then that'll finish everything up. And it's still nice and white, so I know I've still got a lot of good glue in it. Okay, so I'm about 2 from this point on the road bed. There we go. Well, I'm almost halfway through this curve. That's pretty good. We'll start working on the back side there. Like I said, just keep working our way towards the front. It looks like I've got the camera set up in a pretty good spot. I'm not going to zoom in because if I do, when I move them around, I'd have to just keep zooming in and out. That'd be a pain being by myself because you got to see where the camera is sitting. It's kind of between buildings that I have up right now. It's right next to Alexandria Hotel, between it and the Diamond Building. And I'd be having a fight over those to make sure I don't hit them and knock them and stuff. Okay, so I'm about 3 from there. That it looks like that was still a little. dry. I've been wanting to get this area done for a long time. This is where the platforms for the station were supposed to be. So the reason I didn't do anything here is because I just didn't know how I was going to deal with the platforms, with like concrete poured between the rails, almost like street running, for the crossings for the people to walk across to get to the other tracks. And so since this is where I was potentially, going to be doing it for the longest time, naturally, over there over here where I showed you it's at now, I've done all of this, and so I'm going to have to dig out a lot of that I've done on over there. So, yeah, it is what it is. That's why I don't like doing anything until I'm firm with my track plan. And this station has moved around a lot. Getting close to the engine there, so I'm going to work from above now. Just so my hand doesn't hit the front of the engines. I should have enough glue here, easy to run all the way out to where it connects up over here. This will look good when we're doing our videos over the next couple of weeks as we're testing stuff and doing things. I'm working on the curve sections for our elevated track. As soon as I get those figured out later today or tomorrow, and I get the measurements to Gabe, he'll get them made, and we'll be able to start. Oh, I missed this whole area right here. He'll get them made, and we'll be able to start printing up our curves to get our elevated coming between our towers here. All right. Looks like that pretty much got all of it. Okay, let me go get the toothpick. Gotta go grab it. It's over on the other side. And I get that all cleaned off the rails. Let's see here. I know it's right over here. Should be anyway. Had a ton of them. There it is. Okay. So now just come in and start picking off the ballast off the top of the rails that floated when the glue went in. You definitely want to do this, like I said, now versus later, when they're adhered to it and stuck with the glue, because then you really gotta, this glue really sticks stuff well. So you want to just make sure you have this all completely cleaned off. Doing this now is a lot faster than doing it then. So everything goes good. Today I should have this curve finished. So all I have left is really one wall. And I got all 3 tracks on that one to do though. Oh, did I do the wall? Did I do this one? Oh, no, I got this front track to do too. Well, I can only do ballast for so long and then I just get completely bored with it and I'm on to something else. And now that I've got all these building projects going, it's going to be hard to stay focused on getting this kind of stuff done. But it has to get done because right where my hands are here, where I'm, this front area right here, I've got plans for some buildings and I want to be able to print those and get them in place this summer, so I've got to have this area finished. Now these areas right here where I've got wide open spaces, that's for when I was making things level when I had the platform for the station on top here. I had to make those areas level, so I'll get that filled back in with landscape material when I put the rest down to blend all this in. I wonder, I've been thinking about maybe, well, no, I'm going to do different buildings. I was thinking about maybe bringing over those tall 2 towers that I have in my Skid Row area that are looking really good and put them right here. But this being this close to the downtown, I'm thinking that probably these, even though it's going to be still a part of the Skid Row area technically, they're probably going to need to be a little bit better in shape because inspectors will be coming around here because nobody's going to want to buy a townhouse or a condo or stay in the hotels if these areas right here just look so bad. But it will be part of it, so they're not going to look like they're brand new, but they're definitely going to show some wear. So I will, I'll figure that out later what I'm actually going to put here. Okay, so now I'm going to take the toothpick and I'm going to run it on the inside of the track just to make sure none of the ballast is up against the rail. There we go. All right, so the inside of that's done. So now I'm going to put it on the outside back here. I'm going to get a dry paper towel so I can get the glue off my hands. I don't know why my hands got glue on them. All right, so back to the cup. We'll get the cap rather. Get that redone. Hello there. Welcome. We're just working on ballast today. I've needed to get this area done for a while because I want to put my buildings in here so that as I start to get my big towers finished back here, this whole scene will be kind of done. All right, so now same thing I did. Now what I do here is I put all of the ballast on the top of the roadbed and fill in around the ties. And then when you go to brush it, it'll just drop down the sides of the roadbed automatically and build up on the backside there. So just put a good pile all the way along the tops of your roadbed. And then this is the same for either this back side or the front side here. And you'll see what I mean as soon as I start working the brush on it. Ballast can be fun. I haven't done it in quite a while, so it's just kind of cathartic, you know, just sitting here working on it and mindless stuff versus having to really concentrate like I do when I'm working on the buildings and scenery and lighting and all those kind of things. So it's kind of nice just taking a break from all that I've been doing heavy for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Like I said, just build up a nice little ledge there, and then we do the brush. It'll just go right down the back, and then we'll pull the brush and we'll build it back up. We'll pull it back from the landscaping material back there. And you can see this material that's right here in the middle that I've already got down. I don't know if this shows up here, but it's in between my ballast too. I like having all of my tracks separated. I don't like having ballast to ballast. So I always have to keep that in mind when I'm cleaning back the ballast when I'm brushing it. Try to keep it as much as I can out of the middle, but I can always come back with my sand and the earth material. All right. Amazon. Is it? Yeah, Amazon. I am working on ballasting my in-scale track for my train layout. That is today's project. Hey guys, I'll look up every now and then. I'll check the stuff. So I will answer all those that I do see as I'm working. But sometimes I just have to watch this and see what I'm doing. Just keep an eye, get on this. But then I will check in. Okay. So set that aside. Back to the brush. Nope, I don't have enough right there. I'll tell you that right now. So I'll do some right here at the beginning. There we go. Okay. All right. I don't know if you're going to see this or not. But now I'm going to just take it off the tops of the ties and kind of push it in a little bit. Now the gray that I painted on the roadbed, you'll see it. And I will get those areas covered when I get to the glue. Once everything's wet, I will sprinkle more of this on there. And we will get that taken care of. So don't worry about that. That'll get settled here in just a little bit. I'm just clearing the ties out. So what I do is initially I do that, and I come back and I just kind of push things down with my finger there, just to try to get things a little flatter. And you'll see what we'll do on the bottom there in just a minute. Well, I love bridges. So, Josh, you can't go wrong with bridges. They're a great thing to see your trains cross. So if you got room to put a bridge in, like our elevated track and our bridges we'll have below on our mountains on the second level down below, bridges are always great. Get all that tapped down in there because I've got some glue coming out now from the middle. It's starting to soak into this that's on the outside here. And I knew that was going to happen because it happens every time. So I try to move along as quickly as I can to get this at least brushed off and then tapped down so it doesn't stick to my fingers too much. Hey, 3 spikes rail. And I'm sorry if I don't get to everybody. I'm just like really, and Gabe's not with me today. So I am just winging this. And I've done these kind of build days before. You guys know that you've been with me on. And he hasn't been around like when it was during the school year. And he was off with his classes. Yeah, this is definitely soaking through down here at this point. So I'm just going to try to do that as quick as I can, then just mush the rest down. Try to get those cleaned off as best as possible. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to come back in. I'm just going to quickly brush this back, get it closer to the angle, and see that's starting to come back up, and it fills back in, and it'll come up on those sides. And then once I get the glue going, I'll be able to put the rest of the ballast down on the back side here. Right now, I'm just trying to clear all this that had gone out quite a ways back into play here. Oh, so you're having the issues with the switches where they were just kind of dying going through? I can't remember. Did you have the Insel frogs or whatever they call them, those power frogs? switches to where you put power into where the frog actually is. I think we talked about that last time, and I can't remember what you'd said as far as that goes. So I like everything just nice and neat. I don't like it when it just spreads out and goes everywhere. It just doesn't look right. Real railroad isn't that way, so my model railroad is not going to be that way. Like I said, the hard part is going to be getting in between here. I'll try to keep them separate as much as possible, but I'll just go back in the middle with the sand. You'll see that. I'll get these two tracks done before I get to this one, and I'll get the middle taken care of on that so you can see how that goes. Oh, a height factor. Okay. Well, those frogs, the electric frogs are not going to help that, so. All right, so I've run it all back to the road bed here. So now I'll come across the top right here. I'll start on the top with the glue, and I'll put the glue down on the top. Hopefully it won't beat up and roll down the sides. And then we'll start filling in any of the gray areas. After this is all nice and wet up here, I'll start filling in any of the gray areas that is the road bed with the ballast, and then we'll re-glue that. So this will only take, this shouldn't take too long. Get my little dropper. Yes, it is in scale. Where's my, there it is. All right. So we just start up here on the top. Hopefully I've got enough detergent in it that it's just detergent in it that it's just gonna not bead, and it's just gonna penetrate right into the ballast and let it, yep, it is, it's doing just fine. If I didn't have enough detergent in this, there'd be little beads of glue, and they would gather up the ballast and they would roll down the hill. So you just got to make sure you got enough detergent in there to offset the glue, break that surface tension. Yeah, the alcohol does work. I've used that before. I just like using the glue because it's just not as, the fumes for me are just more pleasant. And since I use acrylic paint on painting all my own ties, the alcohol, when I tried that, would sometimes take off the paint that I had on the ties. This does not take off any paint at all, so all of my painted ties in here stay nice and fresh looking like they are. So that's just a personal choice. Everybody has how they like to do them. Just when I'm working with acrylics, which I do, virtually everything I paint is in acrylics, except for when I'm using the rattle can scenery stuff. Everything is done with acrylics, but I use rattle can paints for my buildings. I use Rust-Oleum, fantastic paint. You use the 2-in-1. You don't have to put primer on. It saves a whole bunch of steps. Stuff is cheap. They've got a heck of a selection of colors. And I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, the building right here. This guy. We just painted that one. I just painted it about 2-3 days ago. 3 coats of, I think it was called Perfect Gray, and then it's St. Tropez is the blue. Nice even thin coats like I always do, not a single run or sag on it. So Does a fantastic job. Oh, you're more than welcome on it. I have always passed along information of stuff I work with. We have a ton, not a ton. We got a bunch of product review stuff. Now, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so when I put a product review up there, I'll give you an honest review of it, and most of the stuff I put up there is stuff I like to work with, and I've shown how the paints I use work, the glues I like, all that kind of stuff. But I know there's a lot of people have their own preferences for those things, so I'm not about to say mine is the best because everybody has the way they like to use it. These are just the best for me. But if you're looking for alternatives, you're not finding what you're wanting on your own there. That's why we've got it's under its own playlist. We have the product review thing under its own playlist. So, yep, 6 months ago. This is a lot of people are very surprised. They think we've been on this layout for a long time. We're only in about our 8th month on this layout, and we already have 8 skyscrapers, huge elevated bridge built. My son is really good with files, so he has been doing all of the 3D printing. I tell him what I want, how big I want it, and he takes care of it. In fact, we just found the file today, finally, yay, for my 40-foot bulk, well, my 40-foot tank containers. It's actually a 20, but it's modular, so we can make it as long as we want. So these are going to be my LNG tank cars for my fuel tenders for my engines. I already have the file I need for the container cars. Actually, you can probably see it. Yeah, it's right there. I'm going to go ahead and come halfway right here. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the ballast. But yeah, here's the container car. The LNG is going to go right in there. And we'll have our fuel tenders. Yeah, we're partial to Kato. Most of our equipment that's what it is, plus our lower level. This is Atlas Flex Track up here, obviously. Our lower level is going to be all Unitrack for right now. Just so I get it rolling, because I want to get my mountains made, and I don't want to be spending a ton of time on working on track down there like I am up here. So I'm gonna use the Unitrack for down there. We at a train show, we picked up a fantastic deal on a lot of Unitrack, brand new in the package. I think I spent total like $50 for the entire show, and I don't know, I got about 200-300 pieces, and it's all brand new curves and straights. And so, all right, so now what we do, since that's there, we got the little ridge again, so we just got to come in and tap it down like we did. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Like that. And then you get a little bit on your hand, you just got to get rid of it. I'm going to make sure I've got most of that mushed down pretty good. There we go. So now I'm going to come back, and the extra that I put in, and this will soak. I've got enough liquid glue underneath here that this will adhere here pretty good. What I sometimes do, if I don't want any of this falling off, is you come along the base. I'll show you how I do that. You don't actually get onto the slope of the road bed. So I get this, get my glue. So I got to get back into gluing anyway, set that back up there. So all you do with this is you come along, and at the base, right where this is, you just come and you do this, because it's going to soak itself right up the slope of the road bed. So between the two things, you will have all this glued down. And then I always come back a little later after this is set really well, and I always put another coat of glue on. And but at that point, it only takes a few minutes to do the entire thing. So, all right, so let's just keep going. Keep working my way down this way. Wow, that's a good deal. See, I don't have any crossovers or switches with what I got below. I never do that because I'm trying to keep, since I'm working with a block system right now, I try to keep my switches down to a minimum. In fact, I have no switches on this upper level right now. Now, that's going to change, obviously, but right now I don't have any switches that I'm dealing with. I'll have to go take a look at the videos. All right, so now I think I stopped right here. So now we're just going to come in here just like we just did and build this up. It's gluing itself and sticking to the slope of that. It's all nice and wet there. Almost got the backside done here. I think pretty sure that's where I came to. Okay. So same thing as before. Just tap it down in. There you go. And then we'll come along the front side or the back side here. How do I clean my tracks? I have where's my little device at? I took here. This is just a case to a car, an N-scale car case. I wrap a paper towel around this end right here, and then I just drag it along. Does a fantastic job of doing it. Didn't cost hardly anything other than just an old case and paper towels. I don't use any chemicals or anything. Does a good job. I do it about once every couple of weeks or so, unless I've been doing a lot of running. In which doesn't happen very often because I usually don't run trains unless I'm doing a live stream. And even then, like on work days like this, we don't do any running. So really, I only run a few times a month, so I can get by with just a few cleanings here and there. We're definitely getting there now. This is starting to look really good. All right, so I think I was right here. So now I'm just going to keep working my way this way. Yeah, I'm going to create a simple block system, very simple control layout or control board that will allow me to throw the switches and stuff and have the power all going the right direction. For the most part, any kind of switching I do is just going to be crossing over tracks to get to my helix that I'm going to build or my staging yard. So really there's not going to be a whole lot of worry as far as making sure everything's aligned. I know that's not an issue at all with DCC, but I just don't feel like messing with DCC right now. I've done it before, and I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. Every track will have its own power supply on both levels. So I'll have 7 power supplies up here for my 7 main lines up here. And the lower level will have its 3. All right, so this should finish me up around the corner here on this one on the back side. Then I'll just kind of do some neatening up stuff. And then we'll start working on between the two tracks. And this will dry this light, obviously. I mean, you guys will put ballast down, so this is just like really dark right now because it's wet, but it'll dry the nice. By tomorrow, it'll be completely light colored, and it'll match up with either end where I've already had ballast on for a while. So that is a nice thing about it. When it dries, it goes back, doesn't wash off any color or anything. It just works perfectly. There we go. All right, so got that done. Let's mush that down a little bit. I do this because I like to see the top edge of every tie. I don't like having my ballast up and over the ties. I like to be able to see the front edge of every one of them. And you'll see that when we get to this side here. You'll see it more with that. Okay, this guy's toast. All right. Okay, so take a look here. I want to see how far that goes. Nope, it's perfect. All right. Yeah, because this kind of hugged to the inside of the roadbed here, and there was more on the back side. So this is going to be a lot less right along here, but we'll adjust for that. It's not that big a deal. All right, I'm kind of getting down in here where it's getting hard to get some of this out, so I'm going to just refill. This is all I've used. This is the first container I've used for this entire thing, and this will have all three tracks ballasted up here on this upper level without any problem, and probably some down below before I'll have to buy another bottle of it. It was only, I think, 11 bucks. All right, so we're going to start. Now I can actually see what I'm doing. It's on this side instead of being the back side where I could not see if I was getting all the gaps filled. And it's not like, I mean, I'm close enough back there. It's not like anybody's going to be able to see it back there when they come for run operating sessions. So it's just, I like to know I have everything done correctly. What's my favorite train I've gotten so far? That's hard to say because most have been gifts, and I've only put out there ones that I've really wanted. Probably the Surfliner and my CPKC and my UP Spirit engine. Of course, in this FEC that you can see over here, it's really cool. And by the time I get done building the fuel tender for it, that's going to be an awesome set. So, well, and then there's also the Surfliner 10th anniversary that I have down below here that's got that sunset on the side of the engine. It's beautiful. How about yours? What's your favorite one that you've got? Of course, Friday, depending on what comes in on Friday, that gift that's coming to the layout, depending on which one it is, another one's probably going to be added to that. It's going to be the Pepsi Can P42. I've always loved that engine. I wish in N-Scale they made, I had it in HO. I've had a couple of the sets in HO, and I'd wind up selling it off, and I'd find it again and get it again. I wish I could get, I wish they'd made the 2002 NMRA Tracks in the Sand convention set in N-Scale. That is just an absolutely beautiful set of Superliner cars and um, the engine. The paint job, the blue is beautiful. The graphics on them, fantastic. But they only made it an 8 show. If you've never seen it, just Google Tracks in the Sand, NMRA, HO set or Athearn or something, because most of the engine was Athearn. I believe the cars were Walthers because they're the only ones that made the Superliners. Josh, you said you got one of those in HO scale. You're talking about the Tracks in the Sand. Did you get the set, or did you get the engine, or some of the cars, or both? Came with your M1 starter set. Oh, cool. Yeah, Gabe wants to get some of the Japanese passenger ones that look a little bit more boxy, like our subway car or like our subway trains here, for this layout for the elevated track. So we'll probably wind up getting some of that stuff a little bit later. Amtrak 160. Okay. So not the Tracks in the Sand set, but you're talking about the Pepsi can. We're getting there. This is just being a real pain, especially now that I'm into the tracks, between tracks. Well, not much I can do that about that there, guy, because my allergies are so bad right now with everything that's going on. It's the only way I can breathe. So sorry, it's an inconvenience for you. Yeah, we're getting there. And then one of three will be done. Oh boy, oh boy. Do I like Cato units? Yes, I do. Well, thank you very much. As we've said in the past, anything that comes in, gift wise, whatever, just goes straight to the layout. So we just, at the end of the month, it always gets downloaded, and then we head down to either buy something online or we head down to Hobbytown, see if they've got something on sale, and we just bring it back, and you guys usually see it. It goes right into the layout, whether it's machinery materials or whatever it happens to be. Okay, so now we're just going to mush this down like we do. Yep, leaving the front edge of those ties. It's looking good. It's blending in with what I've done already. And of course, like we said, everybody that ever donates, whatever it is they donate, here in the layout, we will have a plaque up for everybody that has. And we will, so anybody comes to the layout, which it's open for people to come see. Yes, we have purchased shipped, we've had stuff shipped from Lombard. So when anybody comes to see it, they'll be able to see the plaque for whoever's been either members through our membership thing, or who have sent gifts, or have gotten stuff off of our Amazon wish list. Everybody will be credited, and some people wanted to actually have certain things done, and they'll be credited on those things. Like they said, could we help buy like the materials you use for these buildings or something? And so, when we buy the spool of filament, whichever building it is, we will have a little dedication plaque below that building for the person that enabled us to buy the spools. Okay, now I'm coming in here and I'm trying to get this back out of the middle as best I can so that I can have my little run right here of the material. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. I'll come back in and I'll put the earth in there and the sand again, but the less I have to do, the better. So I'm just trying to get this done this way to start off with. You can see this is the this roadbed has a smoother, a more flat angle to it. It has one angle that's really sharp and almost goes straight up and down, and that's this side right here. So this side always takes a little bit more work to do. Now I got to get this all out of here. This kind of got a little crazy. Get it both sides. There we go. Perfect. I mean, I got to come back here in the middle anyway, because this is where I dug this out for when I had the cover on here. So when I had this whole area covered and we had the I-beams down here. It's getting a little narrow right here between the tracks. I didn't quite get them separated as good as they should have been. But when you're my age and you have bad eyesight and you got really bad arthritis, things like that happen. So, probably shouldn't be doing in scale, but when I only have a 9-foot by 7-foot space, this is the only thing to be able to create the city that I'm wanting to create here. It's the only way to do it. Hi, CJ. We are just working on ballast today. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so how much work has been done on the above ground tracks? I'll probably, let me just, do I have the Cato Amtrak Viewliner? No, I don't have the Viewliner yet. So let me just, so people can see, since we're just really super focused in right here, let me just get the camera, I'll tip it back, and then I'll set this back in place. I'm going to try to remember how that's set up. Okay, so as you can see, this is all finished here. Here's our new platform that we worked on in the last live stream. Station is kind of set. I haven't decided exactly if I'm going to have it at one end or the other or centered. So that's there. We'll be doing the platforms underneath for loading for the passengers. That'll be my big passenger loading area. So here is this is the Alexandria Hotel, the big area in the back. We've got these little things we got to glue on here. So you can see here's the first of the buildings that I've gotten painted. This has to be painted the blue that this is. I'm just waiting for some putty to dry. Then all these will be exactly the same. This is just sitting here right now because it was right here where the camera is. This is the Mako building. It'll be the next one we paint after I do this complex. This building is painted and ready to go for window glazings. And so here's the some of our elevated. This won't be what we're using. It will be this elevated that we're using right here. This long right here will be continued to be going around, elevated like that all the way through. I'm working on my curves right now. You can see how I'm setting this up to get these pieces cut so we can make the template for it, so we can get the files made. This is our convention center. There's our parking garage. And then over here, we're going to have our monster, huge building. This is one we talked about earlier. This thing's going to be enormous. It's going to cover the entire window. And we get rid of this shelf. It'll have like the main parts of the offices up here with the big transmission towers. It's going to be our corporate offices for all the different railroads. And I only do HO. I have a large room in the basement, and they have a tiny loop. Oh, that's all right. You gotta start somewhere. Oh, and again, thanks again, CJ, for that 100 gift. So here is, like I said, I haven't even begun the ballast here, but I do have it on the curve, and I have it mostly here. So now we're just trying to do hookups. So today is just doing that. You get this set back here, see if I've got this back in the right spot. View it here. Yeah, looks like we're okay. Yeah, I think so. Well, thank you, Josh. All right, so okay, so now I've got to glue that and start filling in. Now I remember why this track right here is not done, because by the time I get 2 done, I'm pretty much sick of doing these because I'm already tired of doing it. So I'm probably just going to do these 2 tracks, these 2 far, this one and this one, and then I'll probably call it quits on that because it's just, yeah. Because I want to work on those curved sections for our elevated, because I've got to get that done. We have to have that so I can get the rest of our buildings in place. I have to have the elevated set into place for that. Right now I'm going to be squeezing between a bunch of big buildings as it is, and we have some really big buildings coming. We've got our dive-in building coming, and it's I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to set it just yet, so that's why I need to get the track in place so I know where I have room. So Gabe keeps saying, get those done, so I'm going to get those done, and then that way we can just get to getting the big buildings finished. By the end of the summer, we'll have all of our skyscrapers done, including the background ones. So we will have pretty much the city almost finished. I figured out a way of doing modern glass buildings fairly easily. I talked about for the inside of the windows that I'm going to do on some of these big towers where I'm using the foam core that has the sticky side, one side sticky and the other isn't, that I'm going to cut to fit the areas inside the buildings where the windows are. Put our reflective, that high reflective foil paper inside, stuck to it, and then push that into the buildings from the inside to where you can see that foil color from the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of sheets of that. I've seen that in 40 by 60 sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of that. And hey, Ryan, how you doing? Hope you're feeling good. Hope you're feeling better anyway. We're just talking about the stuff coming up. I'm doing some ballasting today, talking about some stuff coming up. So I'm going to get those foam core sheets, and I'll get long rolls of the foil, and I will lay out whatever color. I'll take all of the protective stuff off, so I've got the full sticky side of the foam core open, and then I will take the foil and I'll put it down, roll it out nice and smooth, so there's no bubbles, no nothing. And then I'll get an accent pinstriping tape that I will use. They make them for auto detailing, for pinstriping on cars. You can get really, really thin. So I'm going to get that and I'm going to overlay it. That's going to be the process. It's going to take forever. But probably about the same amount of time as it takes me to sand one of the big buildings and do all that anyway. And then I will actually create the levels and floors with that tape laying on top of the foil. So it'll look like just basically a big glass building, and we'll use those for our background buildings. That's for the more modern buildings will be set back behind these big older looking structures. Okay, so let's see here. Getting there, good. Oh, we had a rough night. Oh, well, good. I'm glad you're staying home and getting some rest. You gotta let the medicine do what it's got to do. Do you pre-wet the ballast? Nope, nope. I just put the stuff right on dry ballast, and because of the glue mix that I have, it just penetrates right down to the roadbed. So it works out just fine. It just saves me an extra step. Just put enough detergent in there, and don't have to worry about it. As you can see, I'm not getting anything beading, getting like little balls of glue on here that aren't grabbing the ballast and rolling down the hills. So if you just get the right combo, the right mix, and I've done this a lot over the years. If you get the right, unless my dad taught me this, the mixed ratios and stuff for this. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I have to go back in and add a little more of this or add a little more of that until I get it just right. But I remixed this one. This is glue I've had sitting in this cup for almost a month. And so I just had to add a little extra glue and a little extra dish detergent to it to get it to work. And it's flowing good. So I like just keeping the cups filled. I don't pour anything out because it gives me a good base to work with. Okay. All right, so now I'll just yes, just regular old dish detergent. You don't want to use soap like hand soap. You just use what am I using? They bought it for me, and I just said, "Go get me dish detergent." I'm using Ajax, the yellow Ajax. All right, so now we're just going to press this stuff down so I can get the front edge of the ties to show. It did bubble up a little bit. Yeah, so the formula is about 1 part glue to about 8 part, 9 part water. And the detergent, you just kind of have to eye that. I just squeeze in a bunch. What I think is going to work, and then I do a little test to see if it's either penetrating like some other stuff, other my material, or if it's beading on the surface. And if it's beading, you just add a little more detergent. And the glue is just plain Elmer's glue. Or any white glue that you have. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, all I'm doing here is just getting this pushed down in here so that the edges of the ties show. It's a little wet and sticky on the ends of the fingers, but I'll vacuum later. There we go. Well, the patience comes from doing my artwork all the years I did them. I would spend, I don't think I have anything close by to show you. I used to do railroad artwork, and I would sit for 12 to 14 hours a day at a drawing table working on the artwork. So it just, that's where patience came from. As far as the vision, well, people that have been with me for a long time know about my vision. I mean, I've had cataract surgery. I've got declining vision in one of the eyes, and I just work around it. I've got my little cheaters, and this room is filled with LED light, so I do what I can. All right, I'm going to go to right there because this is, like I said, this is really vertical now. I'm just going to leave this right inside the thing for a minute because it's only going to take a second to do this. All right. Yeah, it's nice and damp on the sides now. So this is sticking to the sides of the roadbed. And I will clean everything up with the brush in a minute. But I'm just getting this right in here. And before I move on to the before I move a little further on down the way, I will use the brush so this stuff doesn't move it back from the middle, so it just doesn't stick, because the glue will start to spread out into the middle between the tracks. So you just want to make sure you get those areas. And I'm sure I'm going to have to come back and add more. This is just going to be like the first build-up, but I'll do that tomorrow when I do the second coat. I'll see where the gray of the roadbed is shining through. You can see out of my right eye, born that way. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. And it's what killed my art career, because I had the cataract surgery about 10 years ago now, 10, 12 years ago. I was one of the eye doctor said I was one of the youngest people to ever have cataract surgery that he'd ever done. It just got so bad, and so it just. But I've done pretty much all the artwork I wanted to do. I was getting ready to start doing the. This is back when they first came out. I was getting ready to start to do try to do them before I just couldn't do it. Was to do those Norfolk Southern Heritage units. But I'd had the surgery, and I'd been in touch with Norfolk Southern, and they thought it was a fantastic idea. I talked to public relations, and they were going to put them in their company store, and I told them I was going to donate a bunch of them, which I was going to, prints for everybody, for all their employees. I was going to run off a couple thousand, and just never materialized because I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do that. And that was the talent that was God given, and now I don't have it. So, but life moves on. This is why, like with this, my eyes really start to hurt after a while. So I can. That's why, like I said, I'll do 2 tracks, maybe not even 2 tracks today. We'll see how it goes. Because after a while, I start to really get some pretty good eye strain headaches from all of this. All right. Yeah, moving along here. This track's just about finished. About 3/4, well, more than 3/4 done, because you got to count the inside of the inside part as well. It's definitely moving into the middle. I'll have to bring this back with the brush pretty quick. That's why I'm not gonna. That's why I only went just a little ways, because I had a feeling I was going to have an issue here. Oh boy, that was a young age to have surgery. Boy, glad you're okay. Okay. So back to the brush. Bring it up the side where that glue starts to soak in here in the middle. All right, so now I'm just going to go ahead and finish this area up right here. I'm going to come back on the top, and I'm going to get a fairly decent amount, and I'm going to be right on the edge here, and I'm going to put a really thick amount of glue, so it'll go right down the sides too, to catch all that stuff that's kind of dry that I push back on with the brush. Yeah, it's flowing down the thing now. Flowing down the thing. There's good technical terms for you. Flowing down the thing. All right, so that's no, I came a little further. Thought I'd stopped here, but I stopped here. Bubbles, bubbles everywhere. I didn't wipe them off, so that's why you wipe the end off. I'm just trying to do things a little quicker today. All right. So we're going to keep coming around the corner here. I'll go to there because that's a good spot to remember where I'm at. It's staying out in the middle pretty good. I'm by jumping on it here pretty quick, only going a little way. See what I was doing before, because I was just in a hurry. I would do almost the entire length of the 3 or 4 foot section. But by the time I came back around to do these little sides like this, um, the stuff I had in the middle had already dried and I couldn't get it pushed back out. So this is actually a better way to do this, is just take my time. All right, let's see here. Yeah, and, oh, there you go. You can see it's starting to peel up anyway. That glue has really gotten down into the turf and stuff here in the middle. So we'll see. Yeah, because rocks are moving now and everything that I had glued down really well. Yeah, the angle droppers are a great thing. It sure makes it to where you don't have to be like right on top. You can have your hand out a little ways, and it does perfect. So yeah, I like them a lot better. It just makes viewing everything just, you can really see the work you're doing. I got this at Walgreens. No, yeah, Walgreens. It was a straight and an angled in the pack, and it was $3. So they're cheap. You do the job. And you really can see where you're going and how much you've done really easily. So I think I will go to that next spot right there. No, it's never too soon. But everybody has their preferences. Like I said, I did HO forever with my dad. And then when I knew I had limited space, I thought, well, we'll give it a try. We'll see if things have improved over the years and if they have better selection, because always HO always had the better selection of everything. And then I started looking into it. I was like, wow, they've got almost as good a stuff as far as modern equipment goes that HO has. And so I was like, all right, we're just going to give that a try. And glad I did, because I started with an HO on the lower level, and I could get one loop. It's all I could get because of how tight my areas were on that 9 foot by 7 foot for the radiuses and stuff, and it just didn't work. So I thought, well, but if it hadn't been for 3D printing and being able to do what I want to do with the 3D printing to make these big cities, this big city, I'm not sure. Because this has really opened up the 3D printing has opened up a whole new level of things. My dad even at one time had O scale, but he had it in the basement back in New Mexico. And even with a big basement, he barely got in some sidings and a single main line. just way too big. Um, the detail's incredible, especially if you can afford it. You can buy like the brass stuff. Uh, he had traded off a lot of his HO brass and got like 4 or 6. I think it was about 6 O scale brass. He had I think it was 4 SD40s and some 840Bs, and I remember those growing up. Man, those were nice. All right, this got a little thick right here, so I'm making sure I push this down so I can see the front edge of the ties. It's just a thing because of my drawing and how I always made sure when I got to the end of the drawing and I started doing the tie work, I made sure you could always see the ties really well. So I just want to keep that look like I do on my artwork. I know a lot of people wouldn't care, they would just put it right up to it, but I just like seeing the individual ties. Okay, I'm all the way around to here, so I've almost got this one done. Get that pop down there. I need to come along the back side of this track, make sure I have nothing on the track itself. I don't usually because of the way I push it down, but we'll just make sure. Nope, we're good. Yeah, I do like G scale. I was thinking of what time to maybe do something out in the yard, but with the winters up here, no. See, coming from New Mexico, man, everybody had like an outdoor layout. Uh, we even had people that we knew real well that had whatever gauge that is, the ones you ride. Uh, his yard was incredible. He had tunnels. You had to duck a little bit when you went under them, but uh, that was pretty amazing. He and his friend, they actually made the engines themselves. He had Santa Fe. He had an ABBA setup of in the Super Chief, and then he had a steam engine. I think it was a 484 Santa Fe. But I used to love going over there and riding the trains. That was a lot of fun. But having no winters basically allows you to do that. That's not the case here. They actually turned it into a business. They wound up selling a lot of the stuff they created. I mean, they make the best for themselves, obviously, and then they would sell a bunch. And they were always going to the big meets around the country and taking their stuff because they'd always be delivering orders. But it was pretty fun going over to his house. It was pretty amazing. And that guy had money. You had to have money to do something like that. That was just an absurd amount. Because even back like in the 80s, he would sell an F unit for about $15,000. That's the price of a car back in the 80s. The biggest thing he ever built, I believe, was like an articulated. I think he had a guy buy a Challenger from him one time. Oh here it is. I don't even know how much he got for that. But my dad was really good friends with him, so you would always find out. I just don't remember. I'm sure Dad told me one time, but I don't know. But I'm sure being articulated. I saw, I don't remember, it's been a while. Somebody actually did an articulated DM&IR. They were in San Francisco. There was all kinds of write-ups about it. And I think he sold it for $1 million. I think that's what the price was. I don't remember exactly, but it seems to me like that's the number that was stuck in my head. Expensive, really expensive when you get to that scale, boy. That's kind of people that have money and don't know what to do with it. Sold your Harry Potter set. Pacific train. Cool. All right, so I'm going to go along that a little bit and get that glue in. Getting a little worn out. I don't know how long I've even been doing this now. I think it's been about 2 hours. So that's what I said. I don't know if some of you probably weren't with me when we first started doing the ballasting way back when. And I estimated back then just doing the ballasting on this upper level was the 3 tracks, the 3 main lines, was going to run me between about 80 and 100 hours. And I'm pretty much right on the money for guessing about how long that takes. I mean, if you talk about this just being 2 hours right here, this little section, and I have 3 tracks to do like that, and this is just a small part of our upper loops. Pretty much tells you I will have put in about 80 to 100 hours when I'm done ballasting everything. Boy, that came out good in the middle there. I'm happy with that. I can see some of the road bed coming through right here. So when it dries, the thing that's good about it when it dries is this gray right here is much darker than the ballast gray. So it really stands out. So I'll be able to go right back in and fill in the areas I need to. I've got a few areas back here that I had not gone back in and finished. So I will get those done at the same time. When I do the cleanup of this, I'll just take that new station off of there. All right. So there we go. There's a track. Yeah, I'm probably going to go ahead and do just the inside here of this one because I know if I don't, I'll have a hard time self-starting to get myself moving on. Maybe I'll do both the insides because that doesn't take too long. But then I know I'll be to the point where I just got to do it. So I can't have it looking stupid like that with ballast in the middle. I'm just getting all this off of here real quick. Throw in the trash can. Mix it in with some dust and stuff. Don't want that. I'll just have to vacuum. Vacuum. Oh, very cool. All right, so let's get these middles done, and then we'll call it for the day. It's going to take me a little while to do that because there's not a whole lot of ballast there. Okay, I'm going to add a little more to this since I'm doing 2 of them. Well, I better not do that in the middle on this one right here. Like I was saying, because I sometimes I'm right here like this when I'm working, and all I'm going to do is wind up pulling it up. So I'll just do the middle on that one. But if I do the middle on that one, that means I'm halfway through this entire thing. Okay, here we go. Same thing as we were doing before. I'll leave some gap areas that I can brush the excess ballast into. And if I have to, I'll come back in and fill those areas back in like I did. Got some open areas there in the road bed. There were some gaps there, so I put a little extra right there, so make sure I get it down into those cracks. Oh. Got a couple nails here that are backed out just a little bit. I'll have to tap those back in. Do that another day, not today. Okay. Let's brush that in and see how it is. I gotta sit. I hope I can reach this now with the stool here. If I can do that, then I'm gonna work a little bit longer depending upon how close I can get to it. I got this knee knocker right down here, this angle. It's on the lower level. We'll see. Shift a little bit. Make sure I'm not on any cords. And we'll see what we can do. Let me just get off my feet for a little while. What am I going to do the rock wall? I'm assuming you're talking about right here. That's the transition point. This right here is all going to be concrete retaining wall because we're heading towards the station. This is all just going to be like, I'm going to have a park up here on the top. So this is going to be kind of all natural. This is going to be, we're going to have benches and grass and ponds and stuff. And so we're going to leave that the rock wall. But from here, I want to do a little bit of probably an angle right here like this with the styrene and fill all that in to where it looks a little more natural than just that. So that's, I won't be doing any more rock on this area right here I'm working just because of the station. Plus, this is the biggest building right here. So I wanted to look a little more modern. Like they really did a lot right here. There's why I left a few of those spaces open. You can see that filled in. I'm starting to get a pretty big wad here, and then I get an area where I didn't have much in there, and it just fills it right up. And we just keep going. So remember to do that. If you do this hand laying like this, just leave yourself some gaps. And that way you can just, otherwise by the end you're going to have a monstrous pile. And it's going to be hard to get out between the tracks there. All right, get up here and just take a look. It's pretty good. I'm going to run the brush along the inside here. Make sure these tires are pretty flush. All the ballast is off. That was nice having that little brake sitting on the stool, so I may be able to get the back side of this so I can get that area done so you guys can see how that's done. So we do lots of work days like this here on the layout. So if you're new, you might want to, and you've enjoyed it, you might want to hit the like and subscribe and hit your notifications. And for those of you that have been with us and have subscribed, like I've been talking about, I've been seeing a lot of the other people talking about it, how there have been people telling them that they've been unsubscribed by YouTube from some of the channels they like. So you might just want to check, make sure you are still subscribed if you know it's something you want to stay with. Just make sure you still have your notifications hit so that you'll get the notice when we go live. Like today, we just we didn't know what time we were going to do this because I figured I was going to do it while Gabe was gone, running his errands, and I was just going to sit here and work. So we just started this one off. And then if you had the notifications, you'd know that we went live. I think we started about 10:40, something like that. Right around there. This is the neaten up phase right here and getting everything off the track and the ties before I start doing the glue. Okay, let's see. That looks pretty good. I think I can take some of this though, come this way with it because it's really full right through there. I got a few low areas right here. All right, so a little too low right here and right there. That did better. Okay. So we'll start working between the ties like we did on the other one. Yeah, that's looking all right. And it's blending in back here where I hooked up with my old road bed. I brought it out far enough to where it blends in just right. So everything should, when we have all the paper towels off and everything out of the way, it should all look right. Okay, we're going to start back here because I did add some extra back in these areas because I did see some gapping back here in my old road bed. I'll just make sure we get that taken care of first. There we go. Now into the new stuff. Like I said, I'm going to start working on the curved sections for the elevated track this afternoon. That's going to be super boring, so obviously I'm not going to be staying live for that because I'll be running back and forth doing stuff. Nothing stays focused for very long in one place, and I'm going to have to be doing a lot of custom cutting and everything so we can get our measurements right. And then I've decided I found this is actually going to be really cool. If you watch Virtual Rail, I watch the Fort Madison one a lot, that stream. And lately, I've been seeing Amtrak pulling behind whether on the front or behind their regular consist, a bunch of Metrolink um, Bombardier cars, however you want to say it, from Metrolink from back west. So I did some research into that, and what it is they're buying a bunch of those cars for service back east. So what I've got to do, I found an STL file for that car. I've always loved those cars. I found an STL file for those cars. So I'm going to print off about 6 and get them all sanded nice and smooth, get everything put together. They come with the interiors, they come with everything, the side frames. So I'm going to get it all printed off. I'm going to paint them silver, and I'm going to put the Amtrak Phase 7 paint scheme on them, the striping. I'm pretty sure Microscale has those out. If not, I'm sure Circus City will, or that other guy. Can't think of who the other guy is, his name. But anyway, I'm going to make up a 6-pack set, or maybe 2 3-packs with a cab control car on the end. Of the old Metrolink, completely repainted into Phase 7. I think that would look really cool. And then just put just change up the power on the front, put P42s on, or whatever. I think that'll look really neat. So we are going to print those cars this week. I'm not going to take any filament at all to do them. It'll only take maybe about 2 hours to print all of them with the interiors. So I think that'll be a really cool project. And that'll be something very unique for our layout. And I may do some personal private lines. If I like how that looks, I may do some private line passenger cars for I may come up with our own city line here. The Chicago Metro and stuff. I may come up with my own city line right here with a really cool paint job. And yeah. So I'll have both. I'll have both the Metro Link, X Metro Link for Amtrak, and then I'll also have whatever paint scheme I come up with. And I've come up with really cool paint schemes before. I actually, way back in the 90s, I'd actually designed some paint schemes I actually designed a paint scheme for a railroad down in New Mexico. A guy I was good friends with, he and some investors got together and they were putting a short line together. And don't ask me what the name of it is, I cannot remember. And it was, they had actually started to get the equipment bought and they were going to paint it in the scheme. They absolutely loved it. But then he passed away at a young age, too. It was like a total shock. He retired early from Santa Fe. And this was going to be his thing, as he was going to put a short line together, he and these investors. So never came to fruition, but I designed a really cool paint job. So maybe I might even use that one. had reds and blacks, kind of the same kind of red and stuff that city service has that they run back east with the P-42s. So I might do that. Hi, William, we're just doing ballast today. Not the most exciting of stuff to do, but it has to be done. Well, I mean, unless you do Unitrack or Snaptrack, in which case you don't, unless you want to ballast it. But since I use Atlas Flex, this is necessary evil. Okay, so I'm gonna just got the rails taped over for painting. Oh, cool. Yeah, I was thinking about painting the rails, but I painted my ties and I really liked how the rails look shiny on my painted ties, so I'm just going with the painted tie look. I may later paint the outside of the rails, my rust color I use, but and that's no big deal. That's really easy to do. I can do those in place here and just get a real thin brush. Ooh, I was talking earlier about that car I found. When we were watching, oh, it's pretty good. When we were watching Revelstoke Virtual Rail last night, that DM&E car that I'm going to do now. The reason I decided I can do that now is because I told people the other day that I got it, but in case you guys didn't see it or hear it, I got my pin set the other day to do my fine lines for the graffiti. So it's actually a dip pin set. I used to do with some of my artwork. I used to use a dip pin, and I know how to work it pretty well. So that's going to be. I was always having a problem. I could do an in scale. I could do easy enough. The actual graffiti itself, the main part of the body of the graffiti, with the fades and everything, just using acrylic paint and my paintbrush and just blending everything together. But then it came down to the part of having to outline everything with black or white or whatever color. And I could not get a fine enough paintbrush to do that controlled. So I went and got the ink set. They were on sale at Michael's. No, Hobby Lobby. They were on sale at Hobby Lobby for. I got the inks. I got a 5 nib set. Along with, it came with black ink already in it, and I picked up an extra bottle of white, and it only came to $9. So I'm going to have to reteach myself. I'm going to do some practice on just some illustration board. I'm going to have to reteach myself because it's all in the pressure you use when you use the dip pin as to how wide your line becomes. Of course, it does help you have a finer pin, you have a finer nib and everything, and it does. It has 3 that are really fine and 2 that are for wider. So I'll just have to reteach myself how to do it. It's been, I don't know, 30 years since I've done something like that. So I'm going to have to do some practicing before I do it. But then when I do the graffiti, I'll be able to just beautifully outline with very fine, thin lines like the spray paint. Now in HO scale, I never had that problem. The paintbrushes were, I could get a small enough paintbrush and I could do all the outlining without any issue. But it's impossible in N-scale to get. And the reason it is because think about a brush, how flexible it is. You get a fine brush, and you try doing thin lines with it. The minute it starts to bend, which is instantly, you lose the fineness of the point. So if I was almost going to give up on trying to do these. I was just going to have start printing off probably my own decals off of photos. And I thought, nope, there's got to be a way of doing it. So I like making each card its own piece of artwork. So I thought, well, what would do it? So pin will do it. I used to do a lot of stippling and fine line work with the pins, so I'm going to get myself back into the swing of it. And I'll show you guys. So I was talking about this about maybe a month ago, and people said they'd love to see how I did it because they've been wanting to do something like this too. So I will actually have some videos coming showing how to do this work with a dip pin. If you've never worked with a dip pin, you just have to practice a little bit to get that pressure thing down. And then once you do, it'll be great. And that'll be really good for just like doing the scribble graffiti too, where they just do like their initials or some really weird thing like the Kilroy was here and all that. That dip pen will do all of that stuff very easily. Oh, very cool. I'll take a look at it, William. So look for videos of that to come. I'll probably even do the practice videos. I might even put that up, make a video out of that showing how I work through the practice stages of that. Where it might be a good learning video before getting to showing you actually doing it on a car. That way you can see what I went through to get back into the swing of doing it. So yeah, so look for that because people did want to see that. Okay, I think we're pretty good right there. I'm going to clean the inside of the track. Do I have Southern Crescent cars? No, I do not. Cool cars, cool engine. Love that streamliner they had. I love the color. I've actually drawn it when I was doing artwork. Just beautiful. All right, so there we go. So the inside is done. I may as well just go ahead and do the back side here, and then I'll call it quits there because then I'm halfway done for sure. Because then all I have left is to do this and then the three sides here. So that would be a really good day. So I will go ahead and do that. And this is where I have to start being a little more careful, trying to keep this center area right here from becoming level across with the ballast. So we're just going to do like we did before. We're going to put it up here on the top edge of the roadbed. You can see it's going down in there, but it's not going in very far. And I'm right now I'm able to maintain that dirt right there between them. And I will add some more on there. I'll add more sand and dirt in there just to really define it, but I like to try to keep as much as I can so that I know I haven't built up any layers to where it's not going to get level. But yeah, you can already see how it's going to come out with the stuff in between. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about halfway here, and I'm going to use my brush real quick, and I'm going to pull that ballast back. And that way, if it is wet in the middle, it won't stick. And I'll have to put some right in here. Some of the sand. Yeah, because it's already wet in the middle from soaking it. So I'll have a little bit of an issue here, but I'll get it worked out. I was just hoping to catch it beforehand, but it's just wet from the other track. If I had waited a day and done this like tomorrow and let that middle completely dry, then I could have really moved things around and kept it all separate. But I'll just correct it with sand and the earth, Woodland Scenics earth here in just a little while. Should have backed my trains up a little bit. I mean, I'm not hitting them or anything on them, but it just would have made things easier. I wouldn't have had to have been so cautious. Okay, so now we're just come in and do what I did before, which is just get the the heads of the tops of the ties cleaned off. And then we'll mush everything down a little bit. It's leaving enough of a dip down in there. It's gonna look really good when I put the stuff back in. So as long as I'm close, I'll be all right. All right, about halfway. Wow, that's stupid. Cut on the edge of the tie and flicked a bunch everywhere. Okay, so now do it like we did before. Just gonna push it away from the ties and tap it in, or mush it in. Now, the other thing that's great about ballasting is if you do use flex track, is it's going to stop all of that track from wandering during the seasons. Because I'm sure those of you that deal with extreme conditions, well, it doesn't have to be extreme even. Your track starts to move around on the layout when the seasons change. This stops all that. Locks it all right into place. Okay. Let's see if I can get some of this back just a little bit. Just so I can keep that middle fairly deep down in there, a little trench there, down in. I want that to be fairly recessed. So when I come to put the sand and the ballast in, it'll be down in there and it won't be level with the track. All right, glue time. Let's get there. Then we'll put, so we get this glued in and the extra ballast put in. Then I'll put the stuff in to get the middle to define the two tracks really well. All right. Again, starting on the top edge, like we've been doing. We're going to just start right up here. I'm going to go back a little ways because, like I said, I went back a little bit. Just getting a good thick amount of glue there. Start here first, and then we do the bottom like we've been doing, the pattern top to bottom, and then, well, actually, yeah, top to bottom, and then the middle. And then redo the bottom if need be. This is definitely starting. I'm gonna have to stir this. It's starting to settle on the bottom a little bit. I'll start grabbing more from the top. There we go. I have to get that glue moved up. So like I said, if I would check the subscriptions, make sure you're still subscribed. So I know I've been unsubscribed from a few that uh, I watch regularly. Don't even comment on, but just watch. I had to go back in and redo when I heard that that was an issue. Just thought maybe those people hadn't posted anything in a while, but no, it's not because of that. Okay. Now we'll come along the base. You know, I'm going to just do the side here. And come. Let's see what we're going to do. We'll come to about right here. Now we'll come on around. I'll come to this nail right there. Okay. Like I said, look for points so you know where you've gone. And somebody pointed out earlier that I had to stop breathing through my mouth. Sorry if I am. Allergies have been terrible. We have our mold up, not here in the house, but just in the general area. Tree pollen is up, grass pollen is up to extremes. It's been one of our worst springs we've had yet. Well, in a while anyway. That's because of all that rain we had right in the spring. Everything bloomed early. Okay. We're going to come and we're going to put another coat right there. I'm just going to come to here. It's almost center. So I'm just going to come to here, finish this half up, and then do the other half. So let's see here. Yeah. And like I did on the inside, I will come back. This, it never gets to be that much. I'll come back later and I'll clean off the tops of the ties. Once I'm done with everything and it's had time to set. Okay, there's good. So now we're going to come down in here and get the base. Hey, Goose. We're just kind of been working on ballast for how long now? Almost 3 hours. All right, so we're going to finish up coming down this way. May go halfway and then finish the rest up. Yeah, go about right there. Do I have a mark there? Yeah, that, okay, I can see where I went to. All right. Looking pretty good back here on this back side, on this, right through this area, so not too bad. Now we'll just tap that again. So the edge of those ties show up. Now I will do the glue after I finish coming around the corner. Hello, sir, someone? All right, so we're going to start right here and finish this up. Okay. Almost time to put the stuff in the middle. So welcome to everybody that's just joining in. We're just working on ballast today. And I'm just about done. I've been at this for 3 hours. I've done a track and a half to this point. I'm just about done for the day. Let's see, I'm probably not going to need it. Well, I'll put this over here for now. Same thing we did before. Just tap it down in here, get it off the edge of the ties. I'll re-wet the whole thing. And we're good. And I'll clean the track off tomorrow morning completely. There we go. Yes, you're correct, John. Here in just a minute, after I get done with this, I'm going to show where the new station location is. Station location. Yeah, there you go. Last live stream, we worked on the new platform for the new location, and I painted it yesterday, and it came out really good. Got the concrete even done that it's sitting on, which included doing I actually scribed the concrete to make it look like concrete sections, poured sections. Weathered it up a bit. Got the new I-beams in place, so I really like the new location for it. It's not too far from here. It's just down this way, back this way, about a foot. All right. So, next step. Looks pretty good. I'm trying to look here on the back. There's just a few areas I'm going to have to probably, I'll be able to see the gray a little better tomorrow that I will have to retouch up. But that won't be that big a deal. Looks pretty good. Okay. Let me get my sand. Here's my sand. Where's my big cup of this? There's my big cup. Be easier to get the finer sand out of this. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is come right in between. Redefine the two tracks. This is just that fine sand I use from Menards. It's tube sand that people use at wintertime for their trucks to put in the back for weight, for traction. It comes in, I think it was a 50-pound bag for $4. I will never use the entire bag. I know I'll have left over even with the bottom level. So that was a one-time buy. Just like doing a little salt. All this is. And see, I filled in that area that I had gouged out for the beam before, that was the upper, the platform that was here. Well, hey there. Glad to see you, Okie. We are just kind of wrapping up today's work session here. I've been at this since, well, 3 hours to do a track and a half to this point, but it's getting there. It looks so good tomorrow when everything dries and lightens up and it's not as dark because of being wet. Perfect. Okay, so there's that. Now we are going to put the first of the glue down. This is probably, well, we'll see. This may be the only glue we put down. The turf should just adhere to this when I put it in. If not, if it doesn't look like it is, if it doesn't look like it's soaking up the glue, I will put a slight coat over the top. I'm going to get some static grass tufts and I'll cut out a few little areas along with these areas here, and we'll put in some static grass. You can buy really big sheets of stuff that looks really good for about $14. You just cut off little bits here and there and use them wherever you want. I'm going to do that instead of actually buying a static grass applicator. I can probably, for what I would just pay for already having it done and putting it into position, be less than if I was to buy the applicator and try to do it all myself. And I just don't have time to do it all myself. I want to build layout, but an O gauge. Got to have a lot of space. Good, great scale, but you got to have a lot of space. Okay. So let me get the turf, the darker stuff, and we'll put that in there. Boy, that looks nice. I'm just kind of standing back here looking. I am definitely going to be, my solder joints here, I'm definitely going to be darkening those up with probably a little bit of a gray or something. I haven't decided what yet, but that looks really good. All right. Let's see, is this the turf? Yes, okay. So, the dark stuff that I use is the Woodland Scenics fine turf. We'll just I'll put a little bit in the cup here, just enough to grab, and then pour it back whatever's left over, because I'm certainly not going to use all this. Oh, hey, Oki, I found the container for doing the fuel, the LNG fuel tender. So Gabe downloaded the file today, and we will be doing, I'll be making it next week. Finally using those decals that you sent. So it's an excellent file. I can make it any length I want to make it. It's kind of a composite thing. You can see I'm not covering as much. I'm just doing little blotches of it basically. So some of that sand will still come through, but we get this darker right here in the middle back. Yes. Yeah, we can make it to any size. It's scalable. So yes, we can do that. I've got to add a few details to it. It's not going to be exact, but it is going to be such a close enough match that I'll be fine with it. Yeah, I was really happy when I came across that today. I've been looking every day to see if one came up, something that would be usable, and this is. All right, so there is the dark stuff. So let me put a little, it's not soaking up like I thought it would be. So let me put a little more glue down. I'm going to put this back in the thing. Okay, and then I will show everybody here how the station came out. Let's get this done. Just go back over the top, just really quickly. Don't think I really need to do this, but I don't want it going anywhere. It'll be solid as rock when I get done with it. Yeah, Ogie's layout is great. I love his layout. Like, need more room? Make a tunnel in the wall. I had a friend that did that. He did his entire house that way. My wife would not be happy with me if I did that. Gabe wouldn't care. He'd probably let me bring it into his room and go across the stairs, span the stair area, and then right into his room, but that's all right. I don't think he'd appreciate me running trains in the middle of the night. He's off running errands today. Okay, there we go. Now, as you can see, it did a great. Probably going to be live about another probably 10 minutes. We'll start. I'll show what we've done on the layout over the past few days. I'll do a little quick tour around, and then we'll stop and have a little gab session. Talk about what's coming. I'm going to put the rest of this back in. There you go. I don't know if you want to go into the bathroom anyway. All that humidity might wreak havoc on your tracks. So, all right. So let me get the camera and I'll show you the new position for the station and how I'm really happy with this. I just got to do the weathering on it. Let me get everything kind of set back the way it needs to be. Get that there. Look at this. So anyway, here I'll show you guys. Now you can see that dividing line between the two tracks right there that I just put in. I really love having those tracks separated like that. All right, let me get this and put this back because this goes where the camera was sitting. Okay, so again, I will have this painted tomorrow. So this weekend we do the live stream. I'll probably have the rest of this trim painted the blue too. So that should be the basics will be done. Then I've got to do all of the stuff to make this look like copper poking through, showing through the oxidization. A lot of work to be done up there paint-wise, but it'll get there. The other three to paint. So, but as long as I get the first one done, I'm happy with it. These others should fly by pretty quickly. All right, so as you know, last stream we did, I was working on the foundation. So here we go. So we built this on the last live stream, the I-beams and everything from underneath here. You can see all of that. If I can show it up underneath there, if you can see those underneath. I don't know if you can or not. But I cut the piece, like I said, out of that styrene that I had. It fits perfectly. Then I scored it to give it like poured concrete. I'm not sure exactly where the placement of this is going to be, but once it is, I'll stain around the base for like the dirt coming off the building during rains. We're probably going to put some planters in, some seating areas. We'll put some kind of a barricade up so people don't go falling to their death over the side of watching the trains. Maybe even a little fountain or something with like maybe some lights to make it look like it's working. I'm going to start working now that I have this. I'm now interested in working on this again, so I will start to work on all of the bits for this. So this should come together pretty quick. This is going to have the same kind of oxidized copper roof that up here that the Artemis has right there. So that's all going to come along pretty quick. Gabe has started printing. He got the one section done for the middle column for this building for the monster that we're going to make instead of this little guy. He's going to be about this tall, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe like right in here. Exactly like this, but about that tall and big. Instead of only being like 1.5 inches across right here, it's going to be 6 inches. Each one of those areas will be about that big. So that's all coming. He started on that. I've started working on making the curved sections for our elevated track. This is laying it out because I know these tracks are really good curves right here, so I'm using this as my template. I'll work on this probably later today and tomorrow, and then we will have our curved sections to hook up to this to bring on around. And that's the next big part, is going to be bringing this on around back behind, and it's going to run right here between these, coming up right here along the front and hooking up right here. So that's all coming within the next 2 weeks. So I hope everybody, let me get this kind of, Gabe's not here to shut everything off, so I'll have to just kind of do this. I'll answer any questions you guys might have before we switch off. I'll just grab it and turn it off. But anyway, so I love this now. I'm looking forward to weathering it. I want to get this done because I want to put some buildings right here. They're not quite, it's going to be part of the skid row, but they won't be quite as slummy because these people here would not be putting up with looking at slummy stuff right here. So they'll be run down, but not as run down as my skid row is looking. So that's what we're going to do there. Let me get this so if there's any questions I can answer. We're probably going to, let's see, next one we're probably going to do, probably going to be Saturday. I want to have a little time to get some more done. So I like coming in and showing you guys new stuff that's finished or stuff that I'm going to work on, so that makes it interesting. Like today was a good day just to do ballasting. I've needed to do it. I'm starting to hook everything up, so I'm happy with it. I've got half of this done now, half this curve done. This curve's done, so I'm going to I'll wrap it up. Like I said, I'm going to order I'm going to order a big sheet of the static tufts. I've looked at them and I've seen the reviews. People say they're excellent. So I'll put little static tufts here and there all along to give it some higher grass than what you can do with the woodland scenic stuff. And then I'll just kind of tie everything in, and like around the base right here where I've got the beams, I'll probably put a few little static tufts around some of the bases of those. I have to weather this still. A lot of weathering to be done on the concrete platform. I got to figure out how to install the lights for underneath to light up the loading platforms for the passenger cars. So that's all stuff down the line. It's not going to be anything that I'm going to have to do right now. I can get back to operations. This is in place. I'll get all this track cleaned off here. Everything will be good. We'll be operating again by Saturday. So that should work out pretty good. In the meantime, we'll start getting those curved sections made. Trying to think what else we're going to be doing. Oh, I'll glue these things on right up here on the Alexandria. I'm going to glue those stair steps on each level, get them up and perfectly flat to the front surface, so we can get the side pieces made so that that thing is just finished. I've got the color already picked out for this entire building, so I'll get the Artemis finished first with the painting next week, and then we'll move on to this. So basically, I'll have almost all the buildings painted within 2 weeks. I wasn't even going to do that till the fall, but I've got so many things coming up now that we're working on that I just need to get things moved out of the way. Plus, I need to, not need to, but I really want to, that car I saw last night, that DM&E, and now that I have my dip pins, I really want to get that graffiti done that I found, that I saw last night. So we're going to get on that. I want to start getting some custom cars. It'll be my first prototype car for this because I'll change the number on the model to match the real car, and I'll weather it exactly the way it was, and I'll put the graffiti on exactly the way it was. So that's going to be a fun project. I may make a video out of that or do it live. I'm not sure which, but I will do a video or a live showing how to work with a dip pen if you've never used a dip pen before. How to change out the nibs, how to get the width of the lines that you draw thicker or thinner depending upon the pressure you put on the pen. I used to do that with my art a long time ago, so I'll get kind of a refresher course because I want to be really good at it before I tackle a car with it. I want to be able to get those really fine, just super thin little lines done so I can do all my outlining I want for the graffiti. So we'll do a couple of videos about that in the next week or two as I start to work on that. We now have the, you can find the link for it in our community pages, I believe. I don't know, Gabe's not here, so I don't know where anything is. But we put up our first files for sale for the elevated tracks. The only thing that isn't there is the curved sections, but we'll have that as a separate file and put it up later. But right now the straight sections are up there. It's on Cults, but there's links on our thing if you're interested in getting that if you want them. It's there for purchase. We didn't make it very expensive. It'll be a separate thing for the curved because it's just a whole separate thing. We're going to have a lot of files go up there that'll be available. Most every building that we have here will be available if you want to get them. So we're moving along. I knew this would be a busy summer with Gabe being off. We're going to try to have most of the city wrapped up, almost everything up here wrapped up by the end of summer. So when he goes back, I can work on the stuff down here. I don't need a lot from him on this because this is going to be mostly scenery. I'm going to make lots of mountains, rivers, lakes, all kinds of stuff on the lower level for country running with maybe some industry down here. So I can do that in the fall without having to worry about bothering him too much with his classes. So we're on kind of a time schedule. That's what we're doing. Like I said, if you liked it, like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Today was, like I said, it's just a necessary evil. The ballast, you got to have it. It's got to look good, and it's a real pain to do. But it's all right. I see people are starting to do ballast even on their Cato unit tracks these days, just to make it look more real. There'd be no real difference. If I was working on Unitrack right here, I would have done it exactly the same way as I did right here. So you could just take what I did here, and if you want to do it, just use whatever color ballast you want to use, and use the same techniques, and you're good to go. So, Ryan, if you're still here, I hope you get to feeling better. Just take care of yourself. Whatever this is, you just need the rest. Try to get some sleep today. Anybody else? Hope you're all doing good. Everybody else? And we will see you. I'll get the camera here in just a sec. But we will see you. I'm guessing Saturday night. We'll probably do it. I may. I'll have the rest of this done, and I may have some of this done. So I'll be able to show you at least a few things. Maybe I'll have the first few panels done of the diamond building. So I'll be able to show you how that's going to look. So we'll have a bunch of stuff to show you. We'll do some running because I'll have the track cleaned up back here, and we'll be able to. I want to pull some of the Amtraks underneath the station right here and bring them to a stop and see how that looks. I hope that's going to look really cool. coming up. I won't have the platforms made yet, but at least we'll get the kind of overall look that we'll have for operations. All right, everybody. So thank you for joining us today. Well, me today, since Gabe is absent. And I'll show you a quick little pan around again. So anyway, take care, and then we will see everybody this weekend. So I hope you've enjoyed it today. A good session day, and let's see, awesome stuff you make and tell Gabe. He is good with the computer. Yes, he is. I have to agree completely. If it wasn't for him, none of what you see here would be on the layout at this point, because I have absolutely no idea how he puts these files together. But I just tell him what I want, and he does it. So, all right. So anyway, take care, everybody, and we'll see you this weekend. Again, thank you for that gift earlier today. That was greatly appreciated. The 100 on that, and like I said, it'll just be going straight in when we get the money transferred down at the end of the month. We'll just go ahead and buy something with it. So yeah, back to work I go. Anyways, there you go. All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you this weekend. Thanks for being here.